Hi, you won't be seeing me easily um, because it's almost night here and I'm trying to put out a message very quickly through this particular vlog. Uh, it's almost the end of this weekend, uh, but the reason why I am talking about now is about ICOs. Now we had I am part of quite many WhatsApp groups. One of the interesting groups, we were talking about ICOs, and a lot of great brains were giving different perspectives. And I felt it would be good if I can I can just get in just to share the ideas that we got or I got from those conversation. It's not that it's the first time that I'm talking about or such a discussion has been happening, but there is a lot of negativity I see from a lot of veterans in the industry, and also from people who want quality and more accountability in the whole ICO process. And this is nothing new. Since late 2016 and the whole of 2017, when we found a lot of ICOs raising exorbitant amount of funding, which they may not even need. Many people started asking questions: do they really need that much amount of funds? And the second bigger question was there is no accountability, and there is huge risks that investors or retail investors are getting exposed because ICOs are no more about creating a new cryptocurrency or changing the world. It seems that any idea you have, just copy it and just make an ICO out of it. And the major aim many people felt was that just raise funds for some kind of an idea, and try to just get unrealistic evaluation. I also put my point. The reality, though the ICO ICO is a great way to crowdfund a project, but the kind of crowdfunding right now is happening and how it is going to is not healthy. This year we will see more and more private investments where bigger players would demand more share, and much of the funding would be probably closed within those rounds. So what is happening is that ICOs are no more a way of creating the next biggest cryptocurrency project or getting that community adoption, but it's all about raising quick funds and closing it. Filecoin is a great example of it. And the problem is that fine, this may be a great way of creating private equity, like the next 2.0 of creating private equity for venture funding. But the biggest question that was raised was in traditional businesses, at least, you have either a track record or somebody bootstraps and shows that they have something to create. But in case of blockchain or at least ICOs, the problem is many of them do not even have a prototype, and with just an idea and a white paper, people are raising insane amount of money. And that was many who thought, or at least few who thought, that is totally wrong. And what it is impacting is that it is impacting the good projects, or the serious projects that would have that could have been funded through this great crowdfunding model. And then some people raise that that's why it is important that these whole ICO landscape should be regulated more, and more accountability has to be brought in. And also we should be looking more focused on accredited investors. Again, I had my own thoughts on it, or my own reservations. See, the problem is we feel that accredited investors know how to invest, or they have that risk appetite to handle it. I feel Being an accredited investor is no guarantee that they are responsible investors. They may have the money, but they may not be responsible. I know a lot of rich people who have insane amount of money. They just are into ICOs to get that quick buck, to make that quick their money 10x 100x quickly by trading them in the exchanges. And today what is happening, even ICOs, many cryptocurrency projects are not even going through the ICO phase. They are either going to private sale and then directly listing into exchanges, and many felt that it was not moral. Again, for me, it was the reality is what we expect, the ideal scenario, and what is the realistic scenario today are totally different. The end of the day, the person who gets wrecked is the retail investor who are buying those cryptocurrencies which may be worthless at a much more pumped price, and when the market goes down, they get wrecked and they get impacted by it. Uh, so the but still I feel that it's too early to dismiss the whole ICO scene. And I also feel like this is nothing new in the ICO scene alone. We could find the same in the so-called regulated markets as well. So there are so many companies that are being closed in even in the OTC markets, in the OTC trading market in US, and also in stock exchanges in Europe and United States. So and also in commodities market also a lot of people are fined and stopped. So it's not that this is a problem that is only relevant to ICO. People are people. The bad eggs would be everywhere. But the best thing that I feel ICOs can do and should be doing is still continuing with that, with a more focused on the technology, the value proposition they want to give, and probably should be focusing more on creating a platform even before they can go with ICO phase. I know. Many would say that this is not this is not the story about decentralization. The whole concept of so-called initial coin offerings. If somebody follows the for creation dApps, if somebody follows the Factom white paper, realize that what it was talked in that is that for before even you can launch any kind of decentralized project, you need to first create the tokenomics behind it, or the tokens to it, and then get adoption to it, early adoption to it, so that as it develops, because we are living in an agile world, and what we see today's decentralized application and tokenization model is as much disruptive as the 2000s, where though people felt it was a dot-com bubble, but through that bubble what came was the internet of today. Hence we are talking about the internet 3.0 of today or tomorrow, and hence such bad apples would be there. And even if 80% of them are scams or fly-by-night operators, if even the 20% of it can add value to your portfolio, be it retail investor or the rich or the accredited investor, it can give you even 100,000x returns, and that is most important, the value investing. Hence, from my personal experience, I can say that a lot of ICOs out there are not scams. A lot of ICOs who are operating are serious of providing value through their projects. And I know even some ICOs that raised a lot of money and probably had an initial plan of running away with the money. After realizing the value of this whole process and going through that whole process, have also been serious about delivering something of value. Finally, I would only say that ICOs or not ICOs, the founders of any project should focus on adding value to the projects, and should not look at just making quick bucks. Because I will tell you, if they can sustain these initial phases of ICOs, forget the bad apples. But if you can sustain it, You would be the next uh, the next Jeff Bezos. You can be the next uh, Bill Gates. You can be the next um, Facebook. You can be the next Apple. So the conclusion is that uh, uh, don't regulations are not um, the doubts of blockchain are not uh, the promise of those $1 million or not. If you think blockchain is for you, tokenization is for you, cryptocurrency is for you, and you are a visionary, and you believe in decentralization, go ahead, build something of value. I know this community is welcoming, despite all the negative talking, all the bad apples. There would be some people who would come and support you, and that matters. And that is who would be your early adopters. And I will tell you, an early adopter in a cryptocurrency or a token market is far better than in the real world, because they will stand behind you. They would expect the value for each amount dime they invest in your project, and that will make you responsible. And more so, they would be more than willing to share your vision, and in some ways, they would be your co-founders. Hence, please support such projects and try to be responsible to them. And if somebody says that this is not true, this is not possible, I'll give a very good example of Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin was almost dead, its original founders are gone, but thanks to the community and to the efforts of other developers who see value in reviving the first kryptonite coin, the crypto note coin, have now come up, and they have very huge, very positive vision for Bitcoin, and there are many such projects that are reviving again. So I wish everybody, all those founders, don't get disheartened by all that negative talk that is happening around ICOs, the regulations, or the uh, of all the scams and all the hacks that are happening, and frankly, uh, don't fear law, don't fear governments, don't fear this fiat ecosystem economy, don't fear banks, because I'll tell you, if you win, they will follow you. If you have the vision of decentralization and you can build it, the world will follow you. Bitcoin is an example. Take heart, hold, and make your dream true. Thanks.